jump right into it, man. Some bite down boxing thoughts for today. I already saw I saw the Shawn. Oh, by the way, please help support Bite Down Boxing. If you bet on sports, we got the Super Bowl this weekend. But if you place wagers on sporting events, you can help out Bite Down Boxing and pay me no mind by using betus.com.pa. And then if you set up an account there and use promo code JOIN125, you be able to get your bets in a safe place. And then I could get some help on the back end of that. But looking at Shawn Porter, just had some thoughts because really, and this, Shawn can say what he wants to say. He came back and stood by his words about Jaron Boots Ennis being overrated. And he clarified, that he was talking to fans. And I just want to preface everything with saying that, boxing lives online Sunday through Thursday. I repeat that. Boxing, for all intents and purposes, boxing lives online on YouTube, on Twitter, on Instagram, Sunday through Thursday. And maybe even Fridays, because we don't even get a lot of cards on Fridays anymore. So if the fans want to run with the fact that they believe Boots Ennis can wash Keith Thurman, can wash Errol Spence Jr., can wash Terrence Bud Crawford, could wash Shawn Porter. That's what the fans think, And I think furthermore, boxing and boxing business helps feed this type of fan conjecture or whatever you want to call it, because very rarely do any of these guys fight one another. So, and people get impatient. It's taking forever. It's taking forever to clear, to get us the best two guys in the welterweight division to fight one another. Porter was correct in context, has an education. Definitely. Completely. Totally agree. But that's what I'm saying. Like, are you putting on your analyst cap, or are you being the podcast guy? Are you being podcast Shawn Porter? Because if you're being podcast Shawn Porter, then we all out here just giving our opinion. And I mentioned earlier that he was speaking to the fan base. But again, boxing rarely gives us the matchups that we want, so that any of this stuff can be settled in the ring, and somebody can know if they were wrong or right. Jaron Boots Ennis looks like that dude. And we've seen it, if we've been paying attention, many of us have seen it time and time again, that as a lot of these elite guys who look elite and game changers, and they have the great reputations in in the sparring sessions and whatnot, Joe Budden problems, rating rappers, albums, whatnot. I like that one. Matter of fact, let me jot that one down real quick. Rating rappers while not rapping any. There we go. Yeah. But seriously, like, look. Right now, Dimitri Bivol, who hasn't done anything in like 3 years, gets a chance to potentially fight Canelo and get the best payday in boxing possible. It's another weird. Oh, we got old man Sergio Martinez is talking about if he gets one more victory against some nobody, some 500th rated super middleweight in the world or whatever, that maybe he can get a crack at a world title. This weekend, we have Danny Jacobs against John Ryder, talking about if he beats John Ryder at 168 pounds, super middleweight, he should get a crack at Canelo Alvarez for a second time. But so I say this to say, Jaron Ennis is not going to get the opponent that's going to put him in place for anybody to talk about he deserves a fight with Terrence Crawford or Errol Spence Jr. The dude cannot win. So again, we can't get the fights that we want to see. There's no timetable that we can even, as fans, that we can even reasonably expect for us to see Jaron Ennis against Errol Spence Jr. or Terrence Crawford. And we already know what happens before those fights even happen. Both of those guys sail off to do other things. Either Errol Spence Jr. goes up to 154, maybe Bud goes up to 154. Bud could retire if Bud isn't already effectively retired from having his lawsuit out here hanging over his head. So I just think it's fans just trying to get behind something, just trying to believe in something. The dude looks like the goods. Now, that's another thing. And I'm not trying to put myself out here as some Hall of Fame, headed for the Hall of Fame journalist or writer or whatever. But I do think it's a difference out here, again, with Shawn Porter. Are you podcast Showtime, or are you Fox Sports and Showtime Sports analysts? Which hat are you wearing when you're talking your stuff? Because really, if you're in the podcast game, then yeah, you're probably responding to what fans are talking about and what you think is buzzing in the boxing space. We all just talking, and everybody is an expert, right? But what I was saying was, depending on if you are out here writing articles and really doing like reporter work or journalistic work, whatever you want to call it, put your name in print, or if you're on a cable broadcast or ESPN broadcast and you state stuff, it makes it more official, right? If you're writing articles or if you're on ESPN or Fox Sports, when you state something, that carries more weight, or it should. So again, most of the people in those roles, nobody has really said that I know of has really put it out there that Jaron Ennis washes Spence or Crawford. So again, with Porter, if you sitting here punching down, talking to the dudes at the barbershop of the world who happen to be chirping online and who happen to be in somebody's live chat or some dude going live on Instagram, then yeah, you might be throwing it out there that Boots is the greatest thing in the division. But that really doesn't mean a whole lot. That's just somebody that's really big on this kid from Philly who looks really good. But again, if I was going to put my name on something, if I'm going to publish an article tonight, whether it's on bitedownboxing.com or if I was to go back to roundbyroundboxing.com and put my editorial out there on Jaron Ennis, I'm not going to say that. I couldn't put myself out there knowing that I haven't seen the kid against, and I haven't seen the kid against the the elite guys. But again, how is it gonna happen? How is he ever gonna get that? It could be 3 or 4 more years from now before we really get the answers that we want to see. In all likelihood, like I just said, we probably do not see this kid face Errol Spence Jr. I'm probably not doing any breaking news with making that statement, and I shouldn't be hurting anybody's feelings or disappointing anybody, but we probably don't see that fight. Even less likely we see Bud and the kid. It's probably just not gonna happen. I was also something else. It kind of didn't line up to be in the same discussion per se, but here it is. Danny Garcia beats up Adrian Granados, and then smashes. He beats up Red Cash, but I think that went to a decision. But because of Danny Garcia's where he fits in things and what he did at 140, and having a title at 147 and whatnot, but still working his way back up the mountain. He does that against Granados and Red Cash, and what happens with him? He gets rewarded with the fight with Errol Spence Jr. On the other hand, we have my man Boots over here getting the best opponents that he can possibly get And the word against him is that he's done nothing. He's done nothing to deserve those fights. How the hell does he ever get to those fights then? And we're waiting here right now. What would the IBF? I think he's highest rated in the IBF rankings. Are they going to name him the a mandatory? They probably don't get involved. They probably don't make any move to help us out to get to the conclusion that we all want to see. So boxing is just weird like that. Again, boxing lives online. This shit is only important to a small number of us, like this sub community in the sports world and fans of sports. We shrink it down and get to all of us. Jay-Z, politics as usual. But yeah, this situation only really matters to a very small minority or a very small group of us. And like I said, man, in my heart of hearts, or the way I sit, from where I sit, we don't even see this kid face none of the guys who we really would need to see him against to really clearly determine what his greatness is. That never even happens. An interesting thing out there though was an article that I think is up on Boxing Scene, where I was reading. Uh, Cameron Duncan, Jaron Ennis's promoter. Uh, wow. I mean, you only get little bits and nuggets of information to kind of put this stuff together and understand why things don't happen. And it's only an article. Maybe it might be one or two articles per week that really give us a peek behind the curtain to understand those politics as usual. But Cameron Duncan was on there saying that Boots is his fighter. He doesn't own him. I'm not talking no plantation talk or nothing, but that's his fighter that he has rights to. Uh, but because Boots is signed to him and not signed to Al Heyman and PBC, Duncan has to walk this tightrope with maintain a relationship with PBC to get his fighter fights. Cameron Duncan can't even go to Showtime, like, let me promote my own show with my guy who's who's a great asset to have right now, and a big name as a welterweight, relatively speaking. He can't even go to Showtime and get a show for his guy. So it's weird that he's a promoter, but his hands are tied. And so, and the reason he can't do that is, as he points out in the article, is that, right, as we all should know, Showtime has an exclusive deal with PBC. That's the only people that they can have boxing on their on Showtime. So again, Duncan has to go to Al Heyman and see what PBC and Al are willing to do for his fighter to get the fights to climb up the rungs and position himself in the near future for a world title. But the only thing is, for him to truly get that fight, he's gonna have to sign. He's gonna have to give up some of his rights to Jaron Ennis, and that PBC would take on Jaron Ennis from that point. And he had whatever it is, 50-50, 70-30, whatever. I don't know. But that's the politics as usual that we all don't understand. And that ain't even really giving you a lot of, that ain't really even, if anybody is willing to say that in public, then that's probably the least troublesome, or the least complex stuff of all the business dealings, if he's sharing that publicly, in that article. But like I said, just looking at it, we kind of got to ask the question, when the hell is this deal over? And moving forward, as some of these deals come to the original deals, as some, or even I think ESPN might be on an extension or something of their deal. But when these deals do expire, will any of these platforms say, "Hey, this little experiment with all of us having our in-house boxing promoter, like, this shit ain't really working no more. Like, we've done all of the in-house fights that we can do, and this shit ain't working no more. So how do we go back to what HBO was doing and we just start buying the best fights available, that these promoters got to go out here and work together and come to you with the best fight that they can make. And then the network or the platform decides we'll buy that fight. But to sit here saying that only my guy, only my promoter, that's the only person that I'm gonna work with. Well, if they don't have the right inventory for you to get to put the fights on, then we're just screwed. So I just thought it was interesting. If you didn't read that article, I mean, it's got the thumbnail is Jaron Ennis, but Cameron Duncan says a couple of things in there that kind of help us understand why these why these fights won't get made no time soon. These current deals that they have are just stifling everything. And again, Duncan is sitting back like, well, I know I got a winner. I'm holding on to a lot of, to the lottery ticket right here with this kid. As soon as he can get his shot, he's gonna shake things up, and then I become more influential, or I have some more power because I have a champion, possibly in one of the premier divisions in all of boxing, and that's where he wants to be sitting as a promoter. But again, right now his only option is to give up some of that guy, which is going to make his pie smaller, and nobody is willing to do that. Interestingly, though, I think the Castillo Clayton cat might be with PBC, or he might, but damn, he might. The shit get all confusing because my man in Canada might be with the Yeeves Michelle dude that's up in Canada. He might be signed to him, and then Michelle brings his fighters to the PBC. And see what I'm saying? Just trying to talk through all the shit is confusing. But that's the next fight. If you saw the other article that's out there on Boxing Scene with Fundora and Lubin fighting, they said part of that title was in the co-main event or whatever. Also on that card could be Jaron Ennis and Castillo Clayton. And if you remember, Clayton had the what? I think Clayton and Lipinets had the draw a year and a half or so ago. We saw Boots wash Lipinets. So, if he has a fight, Clayton, some people are probably going to say, well, even if he beats Clayton, that still don't mean nothing. He still ain't shit. If mama said he ain't shit, I mean, it can go on and on. But we do want to see Jaron Ennis get his shot. We do want to see him continue to prove himself. I thought it was unfortunate that the Delorme fight kind of went out the way that it did. I thought that was an illegal punch. Maybe Delorme helped it be an illegal punch the way that he was trying to get underneath stuff when he got hit in the back of the head. But I just felt like I would have loved to have seen a bit of a cleaner victory. I mean, I think he was going to beat Delorme, no doubt. But I really would have liked to have seen it possibly make his way into the second or third or fourth round or something and see a little bit more from Jaron Ennis. But like I said, man, looking at from what we're able to see, I mean, the kid looks like he can fight a number of ways, different ways. You saw the showboating stuff kind of went away as the competition has gotten a little bit better. It's good that Al and the PBC are willing to give this guy some fights on their cards and to let the kid earn some money and continue to take a step forward. And again, Al and PBC probably aren't, they aren't total idiots. They like we create the relationship, and maybe after we sort out whatever we sorting out here with the 2 or 3 titles, they control 3 of the 4. If there's a way to transfer those belts to this dude, then maybe they can get the rights that they want, the options that they want on Boots moving forward, and then they still maintain a lot of control in one of the best divisions in all of boxing. And that's how it works out. So anyway, man, let me get on off of here. I just think, again, all of us fans, all of the YouTube dudes, whether I like them or not, whether I mess with any of their content or not, or whether they clearly don't know what the hell they're talking about and can't speak in complete sentences. Everybody is Sunday through Thursday. a lot of us are working to make boxing relevant because it doesn't have the UFC shows on ESPN. I mean, I guess Max has his show. I don't even know when Max's show comes on. Max on Boxing. I just watch the clips of it here and there. But we do a lot of work making making this sport relevant and doing all of the damn, we're putting it out here who we're paying attention to, who we're looking forward to seeing. Uh we keep the shit relevant. For some of us, boxing might be ahead of the NBA for some of us. It might be on the totem pole, it might be the NFL and then boxing for a lot of us, to be honest. Not many of us fool with baseball. I'm probably the only brother still watching the PBA, the Professional Bowling Association. Yes, I do watch it. Yes, I do. Proudly, I watch the PBA. But yeah, boxing it might be first for a large number of diehard boxing fans. It might be your number one sport. And it's frustrating as hell watching some of this stuff. My man Latour just texted me the other day, about what's likely coming down the pipe with Canelo fighting Bivol. And then, a two-fight deal with Triple G. And it's like, does that really do anything for boxing? I mean, here's the dude that's supposed to be the face of boxing and supposed to be our pound for pound champion and supposed to draw the attention to the sport. And here's what he's doing for 2022. Here's his two opponents for 2022: Dimitri Bivol and Triple G. If he doesn't get his ass knocked out or beat up by Ryota Murata. Like we couldn't even luck up. We couldn't even luck up as a group. We couldn't even luck up and get Jamal Charlo. And then let me get off here, but you had some people actually run out here and say that Charlo, that was a bad fight because of how he looked in his last fight. But Dimitri Bivol has just been walking around with a worthless ass WBA title for like 2 years now, 2.5 years, and somehow that's a better option. It makes no sense to me. But 85 million is larger than 44 million or 45 million or whatever the hell it was. So that's what it is. Like I said, man, I just watch this stuff. I don't contribute to making any of it. Bite down boxing. Don't let them count you out. Let me get on off of here. Hey, I appreciate it if you check out the 2 interviews that I did with these youngsters last night. I am a little impressed with the Ernesto Tito Mercado, kid out of California. I like how confidently the kid spoke. He's a 5'11", 135 pounder or lightweight. He's been in there with a lot of names. I've said it before. I'm not the biggest amateur boxing guy, but I know enough to be dangerous. I'm trying to see some action of the kid. He fights this weekend. I don't think it's not going to be televised. I'm trying to figure out if I can watch if anybody's streaming it or if I just got to look for it on YouTube. But he mentioned, he was very interested in getting a box off with Keyshawn Davis, who I think is phenomenal. And if you listen to Tim Bradley, I mean, he's ready to put Keyshawn Davis in his pound for pound top 10 right now. If you listen to Tim Bradley. But which I did just say something about if you on TV, your opinion should be really official, and to say a kid should be in the pound for pound discussion in 3 fights, So maybe that was a bad statement by me. I take that back. But anyway, I'm interested to see what the kid does this weekend, and see if he can be a guy that's brought on with one of these one of the platforms that are out there. He is a promotion wise or promoter wise. The kid is a free agent, so it's not a whole lot to talk about in his career, but just listening to him talk about what he wants to do in boxing and how he wants to move, kind of who he's targeting, he kind of had my ear. Now I still got to put my eyes on him in the ring and see. He is 3-0 with 3 knockouts, against the normal people that you would start out with. But I don't know. I think I'm going to keep an eye on the kid. The other brother used to be the other kid that I talked to last night. Used to be under Devin Haney Promotions. His name is Darren Cunningham, out of St. Louis. He fights February 25th in Phoenix. A little bit of Russian pops up right there. Okay, bro. I don't know any Russian, so I can't even get a little crack in with you. But anyway, the dude's name is Darren Cunningham. Interestingly, he just said that he did lose his first fight last August. Got knocked down 4 times on the way to dropping a decision in Decatur, Georgia. And in talking with him, he said that he was trained for that fight by Mickey B or Bay out of Ohio. And what he revealed was in a 6 to 8 week training camp that he only worked out with Bay on the pads 2 times. And he just went into the fight unprepared. And a loss sets you back. Especially to the dude was like 9-2-1 or something. So I just thought that was interesting. Just if we're paying attention to what some of these guys, when you don't sign up, when you don't get announced and start your career with Top Rank or PBC, or you don't get to start out on the zone, and you got to pop around the country to these different club shows and regional cards, and then your trainer situation it could be trash. It's a lot of pitfalls out there for these guys. And so I just enjoyed hearing the dude's side of the story. Seemed like a pretty confident guy himself. Devin Haney co-signed for him and being a future world champion on a video that I watched when I was doing some of my research on the kid. So I want to see if, at the end of the year, this is a name that can bounce back. The dude was a super bantamweight, and super bantamweight is really loaded, in my opinion. The dude is 14-1, and I want to see if with a win or two, if maybe I don't know what's going on with Showbox right now. A lot of shit is just up in the air with boxing, So that's it. Those 2 interviews out there: Ernesto Mercado and Darren Cunningham III. Let me get out of here. Enjoy the rest of your day. Not a lot of boxing this weekend. Obviously, it's Super Bowl weekend. We'll see what the Miracle Man does overseas against John Ryder. I haven't even looked on that undercard to see if there's anything on there that I care about. I kind of don't really care about Denny Jacobs at this point in time, and that's not to be malicious or negative on him, but it would be great if he looks good and can extend his career. But the effort that he showed us against last time out against Gabriel Rosado was piss poor. I think he is back with Andre Rozier. I think they made up after he had that bad outing against Rosado. And maybe he can come back and put a little bit of shine on his name again and, maybe have a meaningful fight of some kind. But he's not relevant, man. Yeah, he got the nice payday against Canelo, and it's probably just like, man, if I can keep fooling these people into giving me a bag, I'll keep taking the bag. And he probably sees, Ryder as a dude who doesn't pose much of a threat, but I'm not gonna waste my time Saturday night fooling around with Danny Jacobs and the guys on the zone. So it's just it's an off week. It's an off week for boxing fans. I'm going with the Bengals to beat the Rams. I just think they got luck on their side right now. Momentum, chemistry, however you want to look at it. I'm going with the Bengals. Let me get on out of here. Peace. Hey, Latours, man, thanks for tuning in. I thought you would be at the gym right now. That's not a joke, but I thought this was your gym time. I'm trying to convince myself to go outside and do something, but long story. Let me get on off here. Peace.